So yesterday was a pretty fun day for video game news. There was a ton of stuff to talk about. Of course, we had the Bloomberg report talking about the Nintendo Switch Pro revision potentially coming in September. We had the big Sonic event that I actually really liked. I made a video on it. Make sure you guys check it out to get my thoughts on all of the Sonic stuff. And then there was, of course, the State of Play event, which I said I was going to make a video on it, and then I didn't. So you're probably like, oh, RGT, you're a liar. You're a scumbag. I can't stand you. But look, I thought there was going to be stuff beyond Horizon Forbidden West at this event, because they said there was going to be 14 minutes of gameplay and then like 6 minutes of other stuff, but that 6 minutes of other stuff was actually talking about the gameplay that we saw. So that was kind of my mistake with that, and I felt, I still want to talk about it. I am a multi-platform channel, so we're going to talk about it briefly before we get into the new Nintendo Switch Pro stuff, because that's just absolutely crazy. But I did want to cover this game because you know what? When it comes to Horizon Forbidden West, they improved on the things that I wanted to see them improve upon. I recently played the original Horizon game, and I did like it. I liked the set pieces, I liked the world that you were in, but I didn't like the melee combat. That was kind of like the one big problem in the game for me. I just felt like the melee combat was an afterthought, and I felt like, yes, it is essentially a stealth game, but if they improved upon this, like, I would like this game so much more. So to see a more refined melee combat was definitely a big win for me when I saw this game. I was like, okay, now we are talking. I think the world that you're in is very interesting. The new traversal system that they've included in the game as well just looks absolutely fantastic. Kind of reminds me a bit of Monster Hunter Rise with the wire bug, but you have more tools at your disposal to get across the world. Of course, the visuals looked absolutely amazing running on the PlayStation 5. Like, those underwater segments just look absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of water settings in games. Maybe not so much like drowning in the water, but actually seeing what sort of world they create under the surface is always very fascinating to me. The new storyline that they're going in actually looks a bit more interesting than the original, a bit darker than we saw in Horizon, the first game. And, just overall, I was very impressed with this presentation. The gameplay really lured me in, and I think all of these refinements are going to really help with this game, because essentially what they're doing is they're taking that core game from the first game and then just expanding upon it. They're making it deeper, they're making it better, they're making it so that you have more options and more tools at your disposal, which is what a good sequel should do. I do wish that we would have gotten a release date, maybe a release window for this game. It obviously is supposedly coming in 2021 to the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. I'll be picking up the PlayStation 5 version of the game because I want the best experience possible. But definitely overall, I was very impressed with this. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked like it played like a lot of fun, and I like all of the additions that they've made into the game because I feel like it's going to make for a more complete experience, especially for those people like me who weren't really into the melee sections of the original game. Now, if you watched that little segment about me talking about Horizon Forbidden West, thank you to the 7 people who care about what I think about PlayStation 5 stuff. But let's get into the stuff, the reason why you're probably actually here, and that is the new Nintendo Switch Pro stuff. Now, yesterday there was a whole bunch of hoopla talking about the Bloomberg report, saying that the system would be coming out sometime in September, potentially October as well, but it is indeed going to be a 2021 release. Now, since then, there have been more stuff that was happening with it. A lot of big industry people like Jason Schreier, were saying that they felt Nintendo was actually going to announce it last night. I was kind of on the other side of the fence with that, though. I didn't feel like they would do a late night announcement for this, and a lot of people sort of pointed to the 2DS XL announcement where Nintendo actually dropped that sort of in the middle of the night. But I feel like this is more along the lines of the 3DS XL or the Nintendo Switch Lite, where they would want to do it during a time frame where everyone can see it, especially the Western audience, because let's be realistic, the Nintendo Switch is selling best in the United States. So I feel like they wouldn't want to sort of alienate people by doing a late night announcement with that. Of course, last night came and went, but there has been some interesting things that have happened since then. One of the things is that Amazon of Mexico actually put up a listing for a new Nintendo Switch Pro, and people were like, what the hell is this? Like, do they know something that we don't know? Now, obviously, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get a listing for something up on Amazon. So when something goes up on Amazon, a lot of people tend to talk about it because 9 times out of 10, it does come to fruition. Now, since then, this listing has actually been renamed, and so now a lot of people are like, well, what is going on with this? What do you know, Amazon? Are you getting ready to take pre-orders for this system? Because it seems like an announcement is imminent for this Nintendo Switch Pro. Allegedly, according to the Bloomberg article, this will be happening before E3, and then some of the things that we'll see at E3 will play into this new Nintendo Switch revision. So a lot of people have a lot of excitement for this. A lot of people are wondering what this system is actually going to be in terms of an upgrade. We know some basic things, the stuff like the OLED screen. Obviously, it's going to look a lot better. there, the potential for 4K stuff, but now we have a new leak coming out this morning from a Spanish website called Vandal. Now, according to Nintendo Everything, who reported on this, I'll have a link to it in the description box down below should you want to read it, but I mean, you're listening to me talk about it, so you might as well just stick around here, and then maybe you can read it afterwards or something. Give them a click. They have been correct on covering other topics before in the past, and they actually put out some new information about this new Nintendo Switch Pro that we haven't heard before. This is actually new stuff based on specs and technical information on this system, so let's get right into it. The first thing that they say is that the Nintendo Switch revision will indeed support 4K when in docked mode, which I don't think is a big surprise. That's obviously going to be one of the things that this system is going to do. How it's going to achieve that 4K, I definitely think it's going to be via artificial upscaling, things like NVIDIA's DLSS technology that allows you to upscale things via artificial intelligence rather than pure hardware, because Nintendo has never really been about that pure hardware side of things since the GameCube era. They don't really care about power. They care more about making the game look as good as possible while using minimal power. So I think something like that is definitely along the lines of what we go to expect. The size of the console will be very similar to the original model. Once again, you know, aside from the OLED screen that's potentially going to be bigger, a 7-inch OLED screen that will of course do 720p, I don't think many people expected the system to look completely different than the current Nintendo Switch that is on the model, because you sort of have that identifying factor with the system. When you see that system, you know it's a Nintendo Switch, you know that this system is within the Switch family, so that's not a huge surprise to me. It seems like it'll be compatible with current Joy-Cons as well as other types of peripherals. Now that's actually very interesting, because will it indeed have the same Joy-Cons, or will it just be compatible with them? Because I really think they could use a Joy-Con improvement. Obviously Joy-Con drift is something that exists, it's a very real thing, so people have been looking for Joy-Con alternatives. I don't even use Joy-Cons anymore. I use the Fixture S1 when playing it in handheld mode because I can use my Pro controller, and that's really the best way for me to play when playing in handheld mode. I just love the ease of use of that device because I love my Pro controller. So it'll be interesting to see if this is just Joy-Con compatibility, or if it extends beyond the fact that it'll just be the exact same Joy-Cons. Obviously there's a lot of different types of Joy-Cons with colors and things like that, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because I don't feel like Nintendo will want to abandon those people who have lots of sets of Joy-Cons, but I do feel like this is an area that they can improve upon. Of course, there will be a bigger OLED screen, reducing the bezels that the current Switch has. That's something we've heard time and time again. It's something we've actually already talked about. A Surface-style flap for tabletop gaming. So, alluding to the Microsoft Surface device, I think that would be interesting. You know, that would be something a bit different. That would be something a bit premium for this system, because obviously this system, from what we've heard, is going to be above the $300 price point. So you need to have some premium features with this system to make it feel like something that is a premium thing that's worth more money than your current Nintendo Switch model, beyond the standard stuff that you're getting with the specs and the tech within the system. So a Surface style flap I think would be pretty cool. The micro SD card slot will now be located on the flip on the back, making it easier to access. Now, I don't really have problems accessing my micro SD card, but you know, if it's easier for some people, like, that's a cool thing. The new dock will be very similar in size to the current one. The dock will be a little bit wider at the rear. The dock includes two USB 3.0 ports and an Ethernet network port. Now, that's something very interesting, because a lot of people have been buying Ethernet adapters for their Nintendo Switch in order to get better things. Like, yes, you can get good internet via Wi-Fi, but if you're playing something competitively, you want to have the best sort of thing, you would want an Ethernet port on the Nintendo Switch dock. And obviously, the current Nintendo Switch dock that seems to have been somewhat discontinued, which is something we've talked about a lot, obviously would not have the standard Ethernet port on this, but this one allegedly will. So that would be very interesting to see. Once again, that's a feature that you're adding to the system that will make it feel a bit more premium versus the current Nintendo Switch that is on the model, and I really feel like we'll be solving a problem that a lot of people have. Of course, this system does appear to have a new dock that looks like there's going to be some sort of technology in this dock as opposed to this current Nintendo Switch dock that we have. We talked about dock updates before on the channel sort of leading up to this, but I feel like there's something big coming with this, and I do feel like it will happen before E3. It could potentially happen today. Today is Friday, May 28th, but I do think that Japan is on like a 4-day weekend right now, so I'm not really expecting an announcement today. Some people are. Me personally, I think it's going to be next week. I think we're going to get a video presentation, much like we saw with the Nintendo Switch Lite, to introduce this system, to talk about these new features, to talk about what this system is going to be capable of. I have heard off the record that there are development kits out there, that some of the bigger companies have these development kits, and it's just a very exciting time. You know, if you're a Nintendo Switch fan, I feel like a lot of us have been hoping for that boost. You know, if this system allows us to play games like Breath of the Wild at 60 frames per second, or fixes the issues that we have with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity as far as the performance is concerned, that's going to be a big win for a lot of people. And then of course you have the new games that will come along and really sort of access this additional technology and access these things that this Nintendo Switch Pro is going to have, and then the sky is the limit with this system. So I'm definitely very excited for it. You can tell because I'm talking fast. I don't know, I always talk fast. Like, I watch some YouTubers, like shout out to the Gaming Historian, but I don't know how he does it, because like he talks so slow and puts like periods and emphasis, and I'm like, dude, I can't do that. Like, my brain works a million miles a minute. Like, I just need to speak. So, you know, it's cool stuff though. Between this, you know, the Sonic event, the Horizon event from yesterday, there's just so much stuff going on, and we're not even at E3 yet. Like, what is E3 going to contain if we're already getting these big announcements and these big reveals that are coming up? So definitely a very exciting time. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. Did you care about my thoughts on Horizon Forbidden West? If so, please be vocal in the comment section and let people know, hey, you know, let RGT talk about other platforms beyond just Nintendo stuff, because he likes to talk about stuff like that. And of course, the new Nintendo Switch Pro. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about these specs and technology that have supposedly leaked from this website called Vandal? Like I said, I'll have a link to it in the description box down below via Nintendo Everything, should you want to read it. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and be sure to like and share the video. Check out other videos on the channel as well. Go Knicks! Game 3 tonight. I'm very excited for it. I think we're going to lock in Trae Young and get this dub. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.